something watching it go. You train it hundreds and hundreds of times in the simulator, but nothing compares to the power of the orbiter as it leaps off the pad on the solids and goes from 0 to supersonic in just in the order of half a minute. This is a great view looking back at the orbiter from the tank, and here we're just going supersonic. You can see the shockwave flash through there, that little line in the film. After 2 minutes, we're done with the solids, so we jettison them, and there's a great video of us pulling away from the solids from a camera mounted there. A couple minutes later, we're going about 10,000 miles an hour. We roll heads up to get oriented for how we cut our engines off. You got a view of the Atlantic there in the background. After 8.5 minutes, we're going fast enough to stay in orbit, so we jettison the external tank that had all our propellant in it. You can see the orbiter, which is on top there, pulling away in just a second. Our reaction control system jets fire to push us away. All that haze you see is actually the plasma going, getting heated up by the orbiter. We're going about 17,000 miles an hour, and we're still in just a little bit of the atmosphere. Once we pull away from the tank, the first thing we do is both Hans and Leland have to unstrap quickly and get cameras, because we need to get video and photos of the external tank so they can see the condition of it. You can see Leland there unstrapping, and this is video he shot out the overhead window at the same time Hans was shooting high-resolution still imagery. And that's the last of the propellant venting out of the external tank as it falls towards the Indian Ocean.
Once safely in orbit, we open up the payload bay doors. You can see them moving there. And that allows us to start turning on the shuttle's robotic arm. You can see us deploying that right there. After Columbia, part of the thing that allows us to fly safely is the ability to inspect our heat shield, make sure that we haven't taken any damage on launch. And to do that, we use the shuttle's robot arm to grab this 50-foot long inspection boom, which you can see being raised out of the payload bay there. The end of that is covered with cameras and sensors that we use to sweep along the sensitive parts of the shuttle and make sure we haven't taken any damage. This is video taken from one of those sensors as we bring the sensor package across the orbiter. And you can see here Hans looking out the side hatch, making sure that we're flying the arm correctly. Also early in the flight, we began preparing for our first spacewalk, and here's Hans and me getting the drink bags ready for the first spacewalk.
Flight day 3 is rendezvous day. This is a shot on the flight deck early in the rendezvous procedure where we start off about 40 miles behind the space station. That's one of the laptop computers that we use as a rendezvous tool to help us out with the trajectory. Here we have a shot of the shuttle flying over the coast of Peru, just south of Lima, just prior to the rendezvous pitch maneuver, which you see executed here. This is a maneuver in which Steve is at the controls, and we fly the space shuttle through a 360-degree loop. It allows the space station crew to look out the windows and image the underside of the orbiter to detect any damage that may have occurred to our thermal protection system. This is a view of the space station rising in the aft window of the flight deck during that maneuver. Rex is using the handheld laser here to measure range and range rate information to the space station as we close on it at about 1/10 of a foot per second. Steve's at the controls on the aft flight deck, and he has to guide the 260,000-pound orbiter into the space station, and he's allowed quite wide latitude. He needs to keep the shuttle within about 3 inches of where it needs to be, and you see the space station now closing down and just about to hit the docking system. And we dock and get contact and capture, and Steve did just a great job and brought us right in on the money. We opened the hatches, and it just happened to be that the commander of the space station, Peggy Whitson, it was her birthday. And so we brought her a new module for her birthday present. But we were really glad to be there, and the space station's a big, beautiful place, and it's very bright, and it's very roomy. And we'd been on the space shuttle for about 3 days at this point, and it's fairly confined in there. We were very happy to have the extra volume and the extra space. But you can see from the video that we were still a bit clumsy. It takes quite a while to get used to having so much volume to move around in. But that's Dan Tani there. We brought him back home after his 4-month stay on the space station. We were just very happy to be there.
During our first night on the space station, Peggy Whitson, the commander, invited us over to the Russian segment for dinner. And they brought out their best Russian food. It was great. We all got to try a bunch of different kinds of food we hadn't tasted before, and had a chance to catch up with our friends and enjoy a little bit of relaxation for a moment. But it didn't last too long because we had to get ready for our spacewalks, and here we're having a meeting talking about the first spacewalk. And then on the morning of the spacewalk, we get our suits on. Here we're in the airlock, get all suited up, And then Steve and Peggy guide us into the airlock, and here they're putting Stan backing him into the airlock. And once he gets into the airlock, we can close the hatch, and then we can start letting the air out of it, just that small room. And once all the air is out of that room, then we can open the hatch and go outside and get to work. Now here you see just open the hatch for the first spacewalk, and right down there, right below me was the Swiss Alps. It was just spectacular to see. But you don't have too much time to enjoy it because you got to get outside and go to work, but that's a lot of fun in and of itself. Now here we're in the payload bay of the shuttle. The first thing we're going to do is get the big Columbus module ready to be taken out and attached to the space station. So we have to attach what's called the grapple fixture, and this is what Stan's got in his hands here. That's a way for the big robot arm to grab onto Columbus, and we had to put it on the outside of Columbus. And here Stan's carrying it over to the module, and then we put it on there. He'll attach it here, push it down, and then we start drilling the bolts and driving them in so it'll stay nice and secure when Leland comes in with the robot arm to pull this module out of the payload bay. We also had to remove some panels to get that fixture attached, and here Stan's putting one of those panels back on Columbus, and then we bolt it down, and I'm working there right in front of him. We have great helmet cameras. This is a camera on one of the top of our helmets. You can see Cape Cod there in the bottom going just under the tail. And besides the cameras, we also have lights so we can work at night because, we're half the time we're out there, we're in the night time. And so here's Hans working out in the payload bay at night, and you can see his area. We also have sun visors to keep our eyes from the glare, but once in a while you can raise your visor and say, "Hey guys, look at me, I'm spacewalking," and they take some pictures of you. And then the second spacewalk, we had a chance to get ready to change a nitrogen tank out. There's a nitrogen tank on the space station that needed to be replaced, and so we unwrapped it. And then I was riding here on the end of the robot arm, and Leland is pulling me out of the payload bay with this big old tank of nitrogen in my hands. It's a very stable work platform, though. It was great. They just drive you where you need to go, and then we're here at the space station, and we put this new nitrogen tank right in there and bolt it down and connect it up, and we're all set. Now, this is Dex, and he's inside the shuttle, and he is reading all our steps to us because we don't have room to hold on to a checklist outside, so he guides us through it.
And this is myself, and here you see why we call Columbus our new shiny module. We had to outfit it with thermal protection covers and with handrails, and you see me here working outside at it. Whenever you have some time during an EVA, it's a favorite or a favor you should do yourself. Just look at the Earth. It fills your view. It really looks like your mother spaceship. We also had to install some external payloads with the help of robotics and the robotics operator. Here it's Stan with the solar observatory, which we will bring onto the starboard side, the end of Columbus, and attach it to it. Just in a second you will see that, where it is. Here we are going there, and you see the shiny module. It's definitely a little bit different, more shiny, so sometimes it looks dark or sometimes colorful. And here you see solar installed, and Stan is getting ready to leave. We also brought back a defect gyroscope which has failed before. We want to bring it down to Earth, find the core cores, fix it, and reuse it. And at the end of a spacewalk, of course, you have to enter the airlock, which is here Stan doing, and Rex will follow.
Stan and Rex installed the grapple fixture, and that's what I'm flying to in a sped-up view right there. We're flying with a robotic arm, so all of you ladies in here that play video games, keep playing them because they help. That's the robotics workstation right there. We don't have windows to look out, so we have camera views that are all over the station. We use those 3 monitors and a couple of computers to look at it. And we're taking this out very slowly with Dan and Leo, and we're moving it out of the bay, and we're moving it to the right of the orbiter. And it's a very, very slow process. This is sped up quite a bit. That's looking out the aft window. You can see the Columbus starting to come towards the space station. Now the robotic arm is reconfiguring so we can just pull it straight in. And it's all lined up, and now I'm pulling on the hand controller, pulling it in. A great view.